Hi, it's Melanie McLean, and I'm going to hit just a very few of the many construction red flags we have. So in this session, I'm going to hit electrical, plumbing, on-site systems such as well and septic, and foundation. And I'm probably going to give you just enough information to make you a little bit dangerous. This is no substitute for home inspectors. It's just things for you to see as a realtor out in the field. So what are our issues with electrical? Number one, amperage not sufficient. I'm located in central Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is an old state. I still run into houses with 60 amp electrical systems. That was perfectly adequate for my grandparents. It's not perfectly adequate today. Old wiring goes along with the old amperage. Dangerous wiring using materials or techniques that are no longer considered to be safe. And then poorly done repairs. You've got a lot of people who think they're handy, but they are not exactly handy. So one of the things you can see across the country are the infamous Federal Pacific stab lock boxes. These were installed between 1950 and 1980. Now, not all of them are bad. Please understand I'm not trashing all of them, but sometimes the breakers do not trip. And that's a fire hazard because the point of a breaker or a fuse is to stop the flow of electrical current so we don't have literally a meltdown and a fire. Federal Pacific normally has that nice sign right on the front of it so you know what you're dealing with. Here's some other examples of old wiring. Both of these are different types of fuses. The one on the right-hand side is knob and tube, which was very common in American houses for a long, long time. And these are both considered out of date, in many respects dangerous, and they should be repaired or replaced. Then we have this. Some homeowner did this all by himself or herself. Can you tell? This is the kind of thing that gives a home inspector a heart attack. Ought to give you a heart attack to see a mess like that. Now, one quick thing before I leave electricity. What a lot of homeowners don't understand is how much amperage they have to use in their house does not depend upon the size of the breaker box or the fuse box in the basement. It depends upon how much amperage they're receiving from the electric utility company. So in my market, and this is Pennsylvania, so it would be different in yours, but the large rectangular one you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen happens to be a 200 amp service. Now, what are you looking for? It's got a very thick cable. That's what's supplying the juice, for lack of a better word. The one on the right is a very old 60 amp electrical box panel on the side of the house. Very narrow service cable. It's on a round base. And of course, there's other issues going on with the paint in that house. But when you're looking at these meter bases, that's what determines how much amperage is in the house. If you're not sure, don't guess. You all need an electrician friend on speed dial that you can call and say, hey, take a look at this. Now, plumbing. Plumbing's not real complicated. Here's what we want. Here's what the lenders want. Potable water, meaning safe for people to drink. Removal of waste. No leaks. And we probably don't want lead pipes, but we do have lead pipes and lead solder, both lead pipes and lead solder in older homes. You have all kinds of things you see. These are appraisal pictures. The one on the left was a not so handy man who assured the homeowner, oh, absolutely, I can put a commode in the basement for you. Of course, you can tell by the picture, the sewer line was above the floor of the basement, so he had to put that commode kind of on a throne, as it were, and there it is, and that's not very good. And then on the right-hand side, you have a variety of pipes and coverings in that photos. The ones at the top are actually heat pipes, and they are covered with asbestos. That's another topic when we talk about hazards in homes and indoor air quality. But if you look at the back toward that wall, there's a variety of plumbing pipe material. And we're looking primarily there at sanitary waste lines. Very typical in an older home to have a mixture of the kind of pipes and the materials they used. And here's another picture where a repair has been done to an old pipe, and you can see that the new PVC pipe is on top of the metal pipe. Now, on-site systems, well, and septic. So there's your schematic. I mean, the idea with plumbing is we have fresh potable water come into the house. We have sanitary sewer removing it. It either goes to public sewer or a septic system. We have to have air. That's why you have stacks on the top of houses. Those help make the plumbing parts work. And that's pretty basic. Now, many of us, myself included, live in a part of the country where public sewer is not everywhere. There are septic systems. And of course, a septic system, the stuff from the house goes into the septic system. The sludge goes to the bottom. The effluent rises to the top. The water drains out through a tile bed or drain field. And when it's working, that's what it does. Now, here's the thing about septics that's scary as all get out. You and I don't show up at a listing appointment with a backhoe. So we have no idea what they have. I'm in rural Pennsylvania. I have seen cesspools. A cesspool is a lined pit, sometimes with concrete blocks, sometimes with railroad ties. It doesn't have a drain field. I have seen cabins that have utilized a 50-gallon metal drum with a pipe running into it for a septic system. And these things, septics can cause problems for us. So you want to ask the question, has it been pumped? Do they get it inspected? What's going on with it? This was a picture from a home inspector friend of mine. This is trash items and grease in a septic system. So people who move from the city need to understand septics are not like public sewer. They need to really be careful about putting grease down them. They should absolutely not put things like wipes down them. They should be very careful of the detergents they use because septic systems need bacteria to do their job. Moved into talking about water heaters. Now, I know you've all seen tanked water heaters, whether they're gas, electric, possibly an oil-fired water heater. We're seeing more and more of the on-demand water heaters, electric and gas. Very efficient thing because it only heats the water when people need it, and you're going to see more of these, I would think. We also are seeing today the tubular plumbing installation, and that's a picture. And in that picture, the red lines are hot, the blue lines are cold. The little white things you see on that black panel, those are the controls. It tells you which part of the house those particular tubes go to. So you can turn the water supply off if you need to work on the plumbing. Now, foundation. Foundation is designed to be load-bearing. It has to support the house. You need to have a footer go below the frost line. And footers need to be wider than what's on top of them, have to be below the frost line. Footers are one of those great things that you almost never see. Even in new construction, they build the house, when they dig and pour the footers, it's not too long after that that they begin to cover the footers and build on top of them. This is a picture of a poured concrete foundation. These have been common for like the last 30 years easily. This is a pre-engineered foundation. You have these all over the United States. They can be crawl spaces or basements. This one is a full basement. And this foundation comes in pieces. It is placed on a bed of compacted gravel. It can be installed any time of year, even if it's below freezing outside. And the claim to fame is that it is always a very square foundation. Now, my part of the world, you see things like this, stone foundations. So in older parts of the country, meaning parts that were settled earlier, Basically, people came in, cut down trees, started to plant crops, found stones, lots of stones in the soil, and went ahead and used those stones in their foundations and to build walls. Hold on. For example, if you live in New England or if you've traveled in New England, you see all those lovely old stone walls. Those were built by the farmers. They dug the stones out of the field and built walls with them. Now, this is a concrete block foundation, but I want you to take a close look at that, especially on the right-hand side of the screen. This is a foundation that on the opposite side of the basement had actually caved in. And this side is curved. And what's going on is a whole bunch of hydrostatic pressure. That's water. People underestimate how much pressure water can put on a structure. You can see the curve when you look at the picture. Now, one of the things about this wall, why did it go? Why did it cave into the pressure? Among other things, it was built before building code was required where it was built. It was cheaply built. Code is a 10 to a 12-inch concrete block. Concrete blocks have those holes in them. Rebar goes down through the holes. That's the long, skinny pieces of iron. And then they pour concrete in through the holes in the rebar to strengthen the structure. This home was built with 8-inch concrete block, no rebar, no concrete. The only mortar was between the joints of the blocks. So it really created a mess. Now, I see this a lot in older homes. So what you're looking at there is a column. Some people call it a molly column or a lolly column. And you see there's a thing on it where you could almost move it, and you actually can move that. And these are sold by building supply places. And the idea is if a house is sagging, one of these can be installed and the homeowner can give it a quarter turn every week or so and shore the property up. Well, that would be great, except that let me tell you what's at the other end of this post is a basement floor. It's either a dirt floor or it's a very thin layer of concrete. This post is not on a footer. Without the post being on a footer, it won't be able to support the weight. The weight of the house will drive that post right into the floor of the basement. And if you look closely in this picture, you've got two of these lolly columns there, and the one in the back, you can see the metal plate is actually bent. That's because of the pressure of the weight. You can also see that when that one was put in, they added some wood, and you can look above that and see that the wood above it has some issues. It looks like termite infestation possibly, it looks like rot, it's not very good. Then you see, as you're coming to the left-hand side of the picture closer, you see a second column somebody put in. Didn't fit exactly right, so they put a couple shims in there. This is also not going to solve the problem. Well, that was a quick construction update. I have more construction information, and I hope to share that with you, and thanks for watching.